Good evening and thanks for tuning in to the Progressive Talk Zone. On the all-new House of Public Discourse Radio.com, I'm Johnny. Rescinded Environmental Policies and How They Will Impact the Economy. A report, filed by Shannon Q. Elliott with U.S. Resist News Tuesday, October 20th, 2020.
You're inside the Progressive Talk Zone with House of Public Discourse founder and host, Johnny Hill.
According to the White House, they have been successful in stripping away the regulations and protections put in place during the Obama era. While boasting about the strides they have taken to promote economic growth, create jobs, and give industries more freedom, they overlook the fact that these particular policies are contributing to the destruction of the environment. Environmental degradation can have severe implications. Despite claims of a strong economy, policies threaten habitats, clean water, fresh air, and wildlife. It is only a matter of time before the economy suffers a major catastrophe. Two policies that are being dismantled under the Trump agenda are: they are protections for air and water. The Affordable Clean Energy Rule. The Navigable Waters Protection Rule, NWP, has been amended in an effort to allow industries and businesses to operate without government interference. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, replaced the Clean Power Plan, CPP, which set a target for coal industries to adjust their emissions and comply. Beginning in 2018 with strict compliance by 2025, 43% of mercury emissions are attributable to coal plants, as well as 30% of all toxic water pollution. The CPP would have eliminated 144 million pounds of toxic pollution, which would have given the environment a chance to recover. Act allows for more flexibility with their carbon emissions, requiring compliance by 2030. The ACE rule is only applicable to the coal industry. And by extending the deadline, ACE permits greater pollution of toxic chemicals. This rule, the Navigable Waters Protection Rule, reduced the number of waterways under federal protection. As a result, smaller bodies of water, including streams, wetlands, and habitats, become vulnerable to pollutants. The provision was rewritten to clarify waterway jurisdiction. Under NWPR, states maintain authority over smaller bodies of water. All major waterways will continue to be regulated by the federal government. The president maintains that the NWPR is consistent with the state's rights over natural resources. Redistributing water protections in this way creates an imbalanced system. The cleanliness of drinking water varies by state. An influx of pollution threatens to encroach on rivers and streams, and flooding becomes more likely. It should not come as a surprise that the two aforementioned rules are subject to litigation. Environmentalist groups, scientists, and states are lobbying to amend these rules in order to have a healthier environment. Not only are they rallying for public health, but they are also working to prevent an economic nosedive. What happens when the environment fails? When the administration slashes conservation protections, their short-term thinking causes an irreversible domino effect. ACE is less restrictive than the 2015 CPP, so coal plants can run longer, killing more Americans versus creating jobs. According to thirdway.org, Trump's new plan would cause 1,400 premature deaths a year, 430 non-fatal heart attacks, 48,000 cases of exacerbated asthma, and 500 cases of acute inflammation, 42,000 missed workdays, and 60,000 lost school days. By 2030, if people get sick, we'll lose money. While we keep pumping emissions into the air, the climate is going to keep warming up, which leads to disastrous stuff like wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, and bad weather. Events that will strike parts of the world. When stuff like this happens, there's a lot of damage to the roads, airports, and infrastructure. Climate volatility will make labor and goods more expensive. In North America, Morgan Stanley said from 2017 to 2020, the impact of climate change costs about $415 billion. What do you think about clean water? Clean water is an important requirement for a society to thrive. And under the NWPR, clean water is in danger. Farmers and landowners are pleased with a new rule that grants them the liberty to use pesticides without fear of governmental intervention. In the short term, the relaxed rules allow them to grow more crops and raise livestock. Ultimately, their farms are at risk of flood due to contamination and toxins released into the groundwater. Unstable climates will adversely affect crop production, and the agricultural sector will experience disruptions in supply and demand. Climate can impact agriculture, infrastructure, tourism, international trade, and productivity. Just to name a few. One way or the other, we will pay for climate breakdown. Therefore, it is logical to spend the money now to reduce emissions, instead of waiting until later in order to pay a lot more for the consequences. It is a cliche, but it is also true. An ounce of foresight is worth a pound of hindsight.
You're inside the Progressive Talk Zone with House of Public Discourse founder and host, Johnny Hill.